Good morning. Look at this glorious day. Anyway, I have decided that since yesterday's mackerel seemed to work out well for me, since I felt quite well coming to camp, I would do the same today. Except today there's a pirate on a tin. Well, yesterday there was a king, so their child marketing clearly worked on me. And I chose bread that's a little bit more squishy. This polar bread is basically, I think it's kind of pita, but like 8:30, and I am off. The wind has also picked up. Yeah, this was very fun campsite. The owner, he's retired, and says the only reason he's running it is so that he has people to chat to, and he was very friendly. Anyway, quick rundown of the day. 145 kilometers to get to Alta. There's two big climbs, one 400 one starting basically immediately, and then 261 shortly after. I think I got quite lucky. Apparently they've been building a tunnel here for the last couple of years, and the tunnel opened 12 days ago. And so rather than all the cars driving on the old E6 up this 400 meter hill or mountain, they're all going through the tunnel. I mean, I still need to go up, but at least it'll be car free. This is the landscape I'm cycling away from. It's definitely a sweaty affair going up this hill. 390 meters done and dusted. Whew. Feels good. It's also windy and freezing up here, so I'm going to get down as soon as possible. But first, look at that glacier over there, and there's one more over there. It's pretty impressive how big that is. Very cool. Well, I guess this restaurant up here is going to go out of business now that they built the new tunnel, and there's only a couple of cyclists coming up here. Bit of a shame, because it's a cute one, like wooden building. Holy moly, was there a lot of wind coming down there, all from the side. I had to drive in the middle or cycle in the middle of the E6 road just to avoid being flung from one side to the other. Today is going to be a struggle. There's so much headwind. My average speed is 15 kilometers an hour today. Yesterday I think it was 21. That's just my moving speed. My second climb of the day has started. I loaded up on a bolle, try to get some energy because my energy reserves definitely are lower right now. The sun is coming out a little bit, so maybe that'll help. Second climb, final climb, done. 2 out of 2, done. Whew. But I am exhausted. It's definitely a tough day today. I actually caught up with the Italians again. They started at 6 a.m. to avoid the traffic, but they're stopping earlier than me. Anyway, there's a cafe at the bottom of the hill here. It's, I think, the last cafe until Alta, except for a kebab stand. So gonna sit there, have a waffle, have some coffee, and hopefully regain some energy. Well, that was not a great success. They didn't really have any sweets. The only thing they basically have is burgers. And the burgers they advertise for say tastes like beef. So I'm not sure what they should taste like if they don't taste like beef. So I feel like it's one of those things, if you have to say it, then not sure it's true. Otherwise pretty sad inside. There's a co-op next door, so I got myself some blueberries. You know, I think it's funny, like, I mean, they had a fairly good selection at co-op, but the Yuki, I feel like they're run by the people that kind of own it. In Karen, they're a bit sort of warmer. Here it's just like, well, I'm an employee, whatever. I don't know. 12:20 and I am setting off again. I have 100 kilometers to Alta, no big climbs fortunately. So yeah, I'm not gonna arrive there early. There's some jaggedy mountains sticking out over there. Cool. I have reached Finnmark fylke and Alta kommune, although Alta town is still 80 kilometers to go. But Finnmark, woo! Today is just one of those days where everything hurts, so I'm gonna see if some music helps numb the pain a little. I'm gonna be cycling along this fjord here for I don't know, 20 kilometers or so, maybe even longer. It's feeling a bit ominous up ahead. It is very dark on that side, but I have sun on me. Let's see what happens. Guys, I can see Alta. That thing there over in the distance, there's like some white houses. Yeah, it's still 40 kilometers to go, so at least 2 hours. I don't know if it makes me feel better or worse that I can see it, but I suppose at least I'm getting somewhat closer. Brief break off the saddle for banana time with some peanut butter and some polar bread. It's looking like it might rain, so don't want to take too long of a break, but I need a bit of a, sitting on something that's not the saddle. It's interesting to see here, like if you look at the top, like they started drilling down sort of fairly straight in most places, but then it looks like it's sort of curved around. And I guess it's just because like the layers, it looks like it's ended up going basically perpendicular to the layers of rock. It started raining, but I'm 6 kilometers away, so I'm just gonna try to push for it. Don't want to put on my rain gear. So they have these bicycle signs everywhere, fairly well spaced along the Eurovelo 1, which is what I'm cycling on. This is the first time there's a sign with Nordkapp. 236 kilometers left. Still quite a bit, but right, I'll say that was mostly a success. I'm somewhat wet, but avoided having to put on my rain gear. Also, I am in Alta. I'm gonna stop by Kiwi quickly to get a eat before heading to my hotel room. All right, I am in my hotel room. It's 6:10. I have my eat. I'm checked in. I have restaurant recommendations. I don't know. I mean, today was a massive struggle all day, but I feel pretty good about having gotten here. I have decided to treat myself. Not that I necessarily deserve treating, since I'm staying at a nice hotel, but they have a sister restaurant that has Northern Norwegian specialty tapas, and I get 20% discount. So and there were a number of restaurants, but it was sort of like pizza and kebab, and so I figured this would be okay, and I'm not going to be here very often, so. And we are starting out with some king crab soup. Let's see then. Okay, not much to see. The mains have arrived. We have a selection of apparently all Norwegian cheeses, including some Norwegian blue cheese. And then we have some sort of a fish with pureed stuff and bacon. Then we have reindeer, veggies. I feel quite full, actually. So I think this is basically downtown Alta. There's, I don't know, like one hotel that I'm staying at, and then 3 restaurants run by that hotel, and a bar run by that hotel, and a couple of grocery stores and things like that. But I think the one thing to see in Alta is this church here. This is the Northern Lights Cathedral. It looks very modern and quite cool, and actually photos of the inside looked quite impressive as well. I do find it interesting that both here and in Tromsø they have modern big church buildings that are quite sort of prominent like buildings in town. And I mean, all over Europe you have prominent church buildings, but they're usually very old. I feel like it's not so typical to see modern church building. This is the other hotel in town. Actually, there's 3. I think that might be the 3rd one. I think that's the Thun Hotel. Yeah, I don't know. I talked to the guy at the reception and he said the thing to do in Alta is nature, which I suppose I'm doing in some way. So I do think this green patch here is very nice. They've sort of managed to recreate the maybe typical Norwegian forest with these plants with the fluffy cotton-like flowers and the trees and the bushes. So yeah, I don't know. I think they've done that very well. Look at it's almost a field of snow. These cotton things. So I did some shopping at Rema 1000, but they did not have buns with raisins, only buns without raisins. Fortunately, Kiwi does provide. They have buns with raisins. I found 2 others that have come here from Zurich on 2 wheels. Although these ones are definitely don't get the same credit as I do. I thought it was very nice seeing a little bit of Alta. It's one of those cities that it comes up in conversation in Norway, and so I guess it makes me feel, you know, that little bit more Norwegian. Anyway, quick rundown of next steps. So 2 more days until Nordkapp. Between here and Nordkapp there isn't really very much at all, and my goal for tomorrow is basically just a parking lot with public toilets and running water, and I think a place to pitch my tent. It's about 130 kilometers, 110 or 1,100 altitude meters, and so I think it'll be a tough day, but not quite as bad as today. Breakfast here at the hotel opens at 8, so my plan is to be there at 8 sharp, gobble something down, and then